2000 BMW 540i E39 ignition switch replacement. I'm Brian Issa from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing the ignition switch. So in this video we'll be replacing the electrical portion of the ignition switch, and here is the parts we're going to be using. I will leave a link for this in the description of the video. To get started, we need to remove this lower half of the steering column cover here, and to do that, right here is going to be one little Phillips screw that's made out of a little plastic screw. You're going to take that out, and once you take it out, this little clip's going to pop out right here. So remove that clip, and then you're going to take a little flat blade screwdriver, or actually what I did was I just used my fingers and I just kind of pried the cover down like this, and I did it on both sides, and then you pull the cover down like that. And then it's going to have this decorative boot that goes around the cover. So you need to stick your fingers or a little screwdriver in there and pop this off. So you're going to pop these little tabs out like this all the way around the cover, and then you can pull the cover out completely. And then you're going to take a flat blade screwdriver. Here's the ignition switch here. So you're going to pop the little electrical connector out like this and pull the electrical portion of it off like that. Next, we're going to remove this one Torx bolt right here. So you need a E27 Torx, and you're going to remove the bolt. And then basically what we're going to do is just going to tuck it out of our way like this. You don't need to take any more of it out. Okay, once you get that out, right here on the bottom of the ignition switch, mine is painted red. From the factory, they have like a paint in there to seal them up. So what you're going to need is a flatbed screwdriver, and you're going to need like a really tiny one. So you're going to need a real small flat blade screwdriver like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to go in there and you're going to pick the paint out of there. And once you get pick the paint out, then you're going to just turn the screws, back them out a couple threads like this. These are kind of what they call sets. Okay, after getting the front set screw out or backed out, then a little further in, you also can maneuver the plastic little switch out, and there's a second set screw back there that you're just going to back out. So one here and one here, and you'll back those out, and you'll know because they're painted red. They're on my car, it's painted red. They'll have paint over them, the set screws, so you'll have to pick that paint out like I said, and you'll back those out. Once you get those both backed out, so once I got the screws backed out, I tried to wiggle the ignition switch out, but this little plastic wire loom is holding it in. So a little further in, if you kind of tuck the ignition wires up like this, there's another one of these T27 Torx bolts. So all I did was actually just loosen it. So I used my setup like this, and I got it in here like that. Cracked the bolt free a few more turns, spun it out a little bit, and that gave me enough room to just kind of push the electrical harness out of the way, and then I was able to wiggle the ignition switch out completely. Now we can take our new ignition switch and put it back in, and I wanted to show you these little slots right here and here, and they're going to line up in these slots here and here, and then you can see where the set screws, they screw up in there and pinch it and hold it in place. With one finger you're just going to push this kind of back, and then with your other hand you're going to take the ignition switch and line up the little slots and push it in there. And once it's fully seated, then you'll tighten up the two set screws that went in the bottom. I got the new ignition switch in, and I'm just going to push it in fully with my finger, make sure it's fully seated in here. And now that I'm confident it is, I'm gonna run these set screws in until they touch and just make them snug. Okay, now that the set screws are back in, now I'm going to go ahead and put the torque bolts back in this little plastic cover wire loom holder here. And I'll put the bolt here and tighten it up, and then I'll tighten the bolt on the side up, and then I'll plug my electrical connector back in. Now we're going to plug the electrical connector back in, so you're just going to line up the pins like that, push it in, and at the same time you're going to push the little locking tab in, and it draws it in and secures the electrical connector. Now we're ready to reinstall the lower cover, and you're going to pull the boot down like this and slide it underneath. You're going to slide it inside the boot like that. Then once it's in there, you'll re-secure the boot here by pushing these little tabs through the holes on the cover. So I have them kind of pulled out here, and I'm doing it out here. Whole cover back underneath, and then push it up. Okay, once the boot portion of it's on, we're going to line up the little tabs in the corners here, and then these little catches will line up with the catches on the upper cover, and you'll just line everything up and just snap it together. after the cover is re-secured like this, and you also want to make sure that the little felt on the left and the right side is tucked in there. You don't want it popping out like that. And so then we're going to install the little set screw that goes on the bottom. So basically you just line it up and push it in, and then you screw it in. And that'll complete the ignition switch replacement on a 2000 BMW 540 E39. I'm Brian Essa from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe. Invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. And also to remind you that I'll be putting links in the description for the parts. So look for those there in the description. And I'd like to thank you again for watching my videos.